it's me, Robin, with Simple Food, Simple Life. Today, I'm going to make some watermelon rind pickles. Now, these are probably not going to be the traditional way that you would make watermelon rind pickles, in that you preserve them. And I don't have pickling spice. And I'm not going to go out and buy pickling spice. But I do have vinegar, and I have water, and I have sugar. So we are going to go with that. And I'm just using the vinaigrette recipe from my coleslaw and from my vinegar slaw. And so I'm just going to use that, and these are going to be kept in the refrigerator. They are not going to be kept, they're not going to be preserved or canned, you know, as you would traditionally know that. So, this is what I've got. I've got some watermelon rind that has been in a ice water bath, you can see. Now, I peeled most of these, but I left some of the green on because I wanted to show you how I do that. It's a lot easier for me. You can do it however you want, but it's a lot easier for me to cut the watermelon rind up first and then peel off the green part. So I just do that. I just take a paring knife and peel it off. It's smaller, it's easier to handle, and it's just better for me. And then I just discard this part, or if you have a compost, you can just put it in that. But you don't want the green on there because the green makes it bitter, and that is unpleasant. So you can see that I've got another one here. Now, some of these bigger pieces like this, I'm just going to cut them down the middle because they don't have to be perfectly even. They just have to be, I just kind of want them like this size. See? Okay, I'm going to finish these up. I just want to show you that. And then we'll take it to the next step. Don't go away. Alright, now I've finished peeling these and I have drained them. And the thing that you want to do, you want to get as much of the red flesh off as possible. And of course, you're going to eat that. So, and it's delicious, watermelon. People eat a lot of watermelon over the summer. So, this is just a way that you can use the rind. There's a lot of good pickling recipes out there. Plus, there is, you can use your watermelon rind, peeled of course, in stir fry, and you can also use it in, you can make chutney out of it. And do you know that you can make a jam or a spread out of this too? Yes, you can. So, we're going to waste not, want not. All right, now, what I have here is, get you down, you can see this. I've got my kettle ready, and in the kettle I have put about 1.5 cups of sugar, a cup and a half of water, and a cup of vinegar. This is just plain white vinegar. And this is a lot of sugar in this, so we're actually going to kind of turn this into a syrup. Which, if you're doing sweet pickles, that's actually what you're making. You're making a type of vinegar syrup with pickling spices in it, and you're using that to preserve your pickles. Now, even though these are not going to be preserved in the traditional way, they are going to be kept in the refrigerator. I guess you could call it a refrigerator pickle. And it's just going to be, they will last a very, very long time. So you're not going to have to worry about these spoiling. All right, we're going to bring this to a boil, and then we're going to add our drained watermelon rind to this. Okay? And when this comes to a boil, we'll be back. Now, traditionally, I would be putting in some pickling spices in here, which you can buy them in any grocery store. Honestly, I don't have any, so I'm not putting any in there. I do have some candied ginger, and you know what? I may put that in there because I think that would give it a little bit of a bite, which I kind of like. So I think that maybe I'm going to do that. All right, let's bring this to a boil and see what happens. All right, I took out my ginger here. It's just candied ginger. And I am going to just put a little scant handful in there because this can become pretty strong. And they're sliced up, but I'm just going to leave them sliced. How about that? Have you ever had that pickled or candied or vinegar type of pickled ginger on sushi or Japanese food? It's very tasty. It's pungent, but it's very tasty. So I'm just going to use this, and I buy this at my local Farm and Fleet store, which actually it's pretty cheap for a bag of pickled ginger or sugar or candied ginger. So we're going to go with it. All right, we'll be back. It's coming up to the boil soon. All right, this is boiling nicely. It is strong, I will say. Now, I've got my candied ginger in there. And I did add 1/3 cup more of sugar because I tasted it and I felt like it wasn't sweet enough. But these are like a type of a sweet pickle. So, if I had my pickling spice, like I said, that would be in there, but it's not. So, now the next thing we have to do is we have to put our steamy. We're going to put our watermelon rind in there, and we're going to cook it in the vinegar solution until it is translucent. And you can see that even after I drained them, quite a bit of water came off. And as they cook, some of that water is going to go down into you're going to get in with the vinegar solution. Oh, look at that. I've got something there with a little bit of peel. We don't want that in there. We don't want the bitterness. We don't want the bitterness. Okay. All right. Now, we're going to bring this back up to a boil, and we are going to cook them, boil them in the solution until they are translucent, and then I will show you what that looks like. What translucent means is just so you can kind of see through them a little bit. All right, we'll be back. I wanted to show you, this is a jar. I've only got a couple of jars of watermelon pickles left, and this is a jar that I had. I want to show you what the pickles look like. See what they look like? And I didn't, some people like to put red dye in them to kind of give the appearance of, you know, watermelon. I don't. Now, these are done with pickling spice. So you can see that they are dark. And if you look, you can kind of see some of the spices floating around in there. They're really, really good. So I think that if you use the pickling spice, I think that is something that you will really like. And they taste really like a sweet pickle. Like I said, I am not going to buy any of those spices, but I am doing it this way. And so, hey, let's see how it works. There's first time for everything. Alright, I have these on high, and you can see they're coming to a boil. And so I'm just going to cook them until they're translucent. Now, you don't want to overcook them, That's not the point. But you'll be able to tell when you look at them. You'll be able to tell when they're right. Because see, right now, you can see they'll be changed from that. So, okay, all right. It's going to take a few minutes, so there's no sense in you watching paint dry. And look, see how some of it just turns a little pink there? Isn't that pretty? That's party bus. Okay, be back. All right. I think these are looking pretty good. Let's see. That looks pretty good. In there? Okay, I hope you can see because of the steam. I was just thinking, when my kids were little, I used to can pickles because we always had a garden, and when they'd be out playing and they would come in and the house would reek of vinegar and pickling spices, and they would say, "Oh no, not pickles," because they could not stand the smell. Oh well. All right. Now, what I've got here is, I'm going to bring it over here. I've got a couple of jars, just quart jars, and like I said, these aren't going to be preserved. They're just, well, they're just not. They're just going to be in the refrigerator. So I've got my vinaigrette, I've got my ginger, I've got my spices, and I thought about actually putting some lemon in there, but some lemon slices, but I think I'm just going to go with this because I've never used this particular solution before. So just think, and you are there. All right. Now I've got my funnel, I've got my jar. I'm going to fill this up. I'm not that worried about the pickling liquid right now. I just want to fill the jar up with the rind, and I may not get 2 whole quarts. That's fine if I don't. Let's bring this one over and see how much we get. Now I'll tell you what happens when you use canning jars and the canning lids like this, and you put and these are just used lids because it's going in the refrigerator, and you use hot boiling liquid in there, they will seal. They do a seal of sorts, but just remember that's not a preservation seal. That is simply just that's just what happens. It's a kind of a vacuum from the hot liquid. That's all that is. So don't don't think they're sealed, because they're not. I'm going to put a couple more in there. I've got my ginger floating around in here. And I'm going to put that in. Let's get a little more liquid in there. We definitely have to put some more in here. Let's see what we can do with it this way. Be careful anytime you're working with hot stuff. You don't want to hurt yourself. That is not fun. All right. Get my ginger. I think this needs a little more ginger. There we go. Awesome. All right. We got that going. And that. I'm going to take my little wooden pounder thing. Don't you like how I use technical terms? I know, it's hard to understand, but hey, okay. So I can get it under the liquid. All right, now put my jar on, my lid on the jar, and just gonna let these sit out. I'm not going to put them in the refrigerator right now. I'm going to wait until they are completely cooled off, and then I will put them in the refrigerator. because, see there? These are very hot. Very, very, very hot. I'll let them cool off. I'm going to wipe them off, and I will put them in the refrigerator. And then tomorrow, we will open one of these up, and we're going to taste them and see if I'm going to get the result that I hope to get. Okay? If this works, which I hope it will, it's very easy and simple, and you don't have to go out and buy any special spices, really. And you could even dispense with the ginger, but you could also put in some carrots if you want to, or onion. I think whatever you like. So let's go for it and see what happens. All right, then I will be back in the morning, and I will show you what we got. Now listen, since you have all night to wait, why don't you like, subscribe, and share? Because other people need to know this stuff too, you know. Okay, be back tomorrow and we'll see what we have. Good morning, Glory. It's the next morning, and let's check these watermelon rind pickles. I'm a little nervous because I've never used this solution on them before, but we're gonna see what we can see. They're nicely chilled, and remember what I told you about that the heat from the pickling liquid from the contents causes it to vacuum seal. See how the little lid has sealed? Well, that's what happened. So let's taste these. Let's taste them, if I can get them open. All right. Now remember, these aren't preserved. They're just refrigerator pickles. They're not preserved. Just because that little they're sealed, they're not preserved, because they didn't go through that canning process. So I can't stress that enough. All right. Let's see. Now this should actually pop off fairly easily, but let's see. Ah, see, did you hear that? Okay. So I'm going to smell them. They smell pickly, but they don't smell sweet pickly, because remember, there's no pickling spices in here because I didn't have any. All right, let's see. Let's see if they are, let's see if they're crunchy. Well, they're pretty firm. They're very, very firm. Bring it closer in there. They're very firm, and they're very flexible, like pickles. So I'm going to take a couple out here. See, there's a little pink left on some of them. I got as close as I could. Now where the pink is, you know, that's going to be a little more squishy, but that's okay. All right. Let's see. I'm going to taste one. Oh, and the ginger that's in there, let me see if I can find a piece of ginger. I don't know. Oh, here's one. Okay. Now the ginger was candied and dehydrated. And so it's going to plump back up. See there? All right. I'm going to put that in there. Now I know when I bite into that, that's going to be extremely spicy. But let's see what happens here. I'm going to try this one. Let's see if we can. I'm going to try this one here. Let's see what happens. You ready? I'm ready. Woo! Okay. They're crunchy. Here. I know that's gross, but they are crunchy. All right. They're tart, or vinegary and tart at the same time. I have to say, they're pretty tasty. You can taste a background of ginger, but honestly, it's very slight. It's not that much. It's just a little bit. But honestly, they're good. Let's try another piece. Here goes. Pretty good. They're good. Now, my suggestion is, if you don't want that ginger, honestly, I don't know why you couldn't put a little onion, or, I mean, if you don't have pickling spice, but you know, you probably could put some cloves or a cinnamon stick or something in there. That would be good. Now, keep in mind that would color the rind. Honestly, they're pretty good considering they're so basic. Now let's try this piece of ginger. I just know that it's going to be very zippy, and you know, ginger in its raw state tends to be a little bit hot. Yep, that's ginger. It might be a shock if you're not used to the taste of ginger. But you know, I buy that candied ginger and keep some on occasion because I just like to grab a piece and eat it as is. Ginger is good for you. This is pretty good. So, my suggestion is, if you want to try this, please do, because they are definitely pickly. Definitely pickled. Good. They're tasty, crunchy, sweet, and sour. But I would say this. If you want to use pickling spice, go for that. If you, now just to make your refrigerator pickles, if you're going to preserve these pickles, please go to your state guidelines and follow those guidelines. That's my suggestion. I'm not going to show you how to can or teach you how to can because, you know, that's something you need to do your research on. But I would suggest put whatever spices or flavorings you want in there, whatever you like. Cloves would be nice, cinnamon would be nice. I mean, they're pretty tasty. Now, they don't taste like cucumber pickles. They're just not going to. But they would be good in a salad or on the side of a sandwich. They'd be pretty yummy. So, give it a try and see if that's something that you would like. My suggestion is just make a small batch, maybe a pint jar's worth or a quart, and see if you like them. I like them. And would you like for me to open that jar of the other pickles so I can show you what those look like? I think I will. Hang on a second. I'm going to grab them and I will show you what they look like and what they taste like. All right. I stuck these in the refrigerator yesterday, and honestly, these were canned in June of 2015, and I didn't think I had any more, but I did. Actually, I had 2 jars stuffed back downstairs in the basement. So, I'll smell them. They smell good. And let's see what they're like. You can see there's some of the spices down in there. Let's see what we got. See how dark that is? Let's see what we have here. These taste really, really good. Very pickly. Very spicy, because they do have the pickling spice in them. But they are not quite as crunchy as the ones I made yesterday. They're not quite as firm. But I have to say they're really good. And these have a bit of a bite to them. So, very tasty. So, if you want to try either or, go ahead. There's a lot of recipes out there for these. But be safe. That's the most important thing. And don't forget, these are refrigerator pickles. These are not preserved. They're preserved in the sense that they are in a vinegar solution, but they're not preserved, so you have to keep them refrigerated. Okay? Alright, listen. I love ya. If I can do it, you can do it. You know you can. And this might be something you want to try. If you like to experiment with different foods like I do, I would say go for it and see what happens. It's watermelon rind. You were going to throw it away anyway, weren't you? Or put it in your compost. So, hey, give it a try. All right, listen, I love ya. I do, and I thank you for stopping by to watch this video. And please like, subscribe, and share if you get a chance. I would appreciate it. And I appreciate all of you too. I love you. So you just remember that little is much when God is in it. Okay? All right. Bye. Talk to you later.